Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
And here's the game set up. So this is going to track the number of turns, 1, 2, 3, and then the phases inside each one. So every time you go through a draft, you'll move this down until you're at the end. You'll have these little trackers that will keep track of here as you're going up on these, and this will be your secret stash. These are worth victory points at the end of the game, but as you use them when you're bidding, you'll have less and less. There you have any number of these icons, which will be shaken up. You'll have one down here at the bottom, and you'll put the remainder up in here in different combinations, and this will just kind of tell you how things are going to score during the game. So this will be variable every time that you play. As you can see here, there are different types of these auctions or drafting that you're going to have. But so in the first one, you have Loja, SIBO, and conventions. But you'll see the site one on the internet you won't have. So you won't always have the same ones every single time. These are trackers that you're going to keep track of here. Whoever gets further up on this track will score points. So if in a 4-player game, whoever gets furthest up will get 15. And these are icons that you're looking in your collection. Up here, you're looking for certain heroes that you're going to have, certain things you'll be collecting, and how many of those you get is going to be how many victory points you get. So if you get 8 to 11, you're going to get 24 points, etc. So that's kind of how the scoring will work. The first kind of drafting we're going to have is store, and this is going to use only the cards with number 1 on the back. What's going to happen is each player is going to have 4 cards, and this will become their starting hand. What you're going to do is look at the 4 cards that are drawn to you. You are going to keep one, play face down, and then you'll pass these on to someone else. At that point, the player will give you 3 cards, and you'll draft one of these face down, and you'll pass these on. That will continue until there are no more cards to pass. At the end of that, you're going to end up with 4 cards that you have drafted, and this will start out in your hand. The second type of draft will be using the number 2s. And what you'll do is you'll start this out with 4 rows of cards. Then what you can do on your turn is very simple. You can draw a card and put it in any row that you want. Then, if you're happy, you can take all cards in that row and add to your collection. If you're not, then the next player will go and they could add a card to any of the rows. They can add onto the row you're in or add any other row. At that point, they can take any row they want. It doesn't have to be the one they placed in. And this will continue on until somebody is able to take a row, and then that person will have cards from this round and be out. The most cards that can be a row is 4. Once a card has 4, the next player cannot add any more in it. It must go somewhere else. After each player has taken a row, this round of the drafting will end. The third type is called an auction. You'll use the ones with the number 3 on the back. What you're going to do is you're going to take 5 of these cards and put them face up here. You're going to do another row of 4. This is always going to be number of players contingent. We'll have another row of 4. And then finally, you're going to have a row of 3 that will encompass the bottom of this. So they're going to have a bunch of cards they can choose from. The 5s, the 4s, the 4, and 3. This is where the board of the secret stash will come in. Now, players will all start out, let's say here on the 15. So at the end of the game, if you did not buy any cards here, you would have 15 victory points at the end of the game. So you will bid on who gets to take cards first. So let's say green bids 5. And yellow says, that's too rich for my blood. And he would pay 5 of these. So at the end of the game, he's only going to get 10 victory points. But he's going to choose which of these rows he wants more. It won't always be the most cards. It's exactly what you're trying to get as you get the icons or the heroes or etc. that you're trying to collect. So you're bidding on who gets to choose what row first. So let's say green took this, and then yellow bid 3, and they wanted to go next. They could take another row, whatever they wanted to take, and so on. And that will continue until everybody has a row. The last person to bid, obviously not bidding against anybody, they just play 1 point per card. At the beginning of the game, you set aside a number of cards from the 1, 2, and 3 deck that will go into the convention deck. So at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to put out a square of cards from that deck and a 5x5 grid. Here is the convention set up. You're going to have a 5x5 with a hole in the middle. What's going to happen in turn order 1, 2, 3, 4, then 4, 3, 2, 1, you're going to be able to move something over, and then you can take a row or a column. So let's say I wanted to take, and then you would choose a hero. So let me take a look at this for a second. Let's say I wanted to go here and I want to take all the Captain Americas. So these all three have Captain America icons on them, and they were in that column. So I could take these three. They don't have to be the same number on the back, just the hero. So the next player can go, let's say he's trying to collect Thor. So he's going to move this around. You can move his around in the space as much as you want. And he'll say, okay, this column, I want to take Thor. So he would take these three cards. That would continue to everybody's had 2 turns. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once everybody has taken 2 sets of cards, this round will end. Now that I've shown you how the 4 drafts are, you can see here that you won't have the same ones each time. And every time you get down to here, there's 3 times in the game, you'll be able to organize your collection. I'm going to show you how to organize the collection now. When you play cards in your collection, you always are looking to play heroes of the same kind. You have to have at least 2. In this place, I have 3 Thors. But in order for me to play this, I also have to pay the cost. If you look here on the left, there's going to be a number that will tell you how many cards I have to discard from my hand in order to pay for this. So 3, 3, and 7 would equal 8. So I'd have to have at least 8 cards in my hand of any value to discard in order to play these down into my collection. So whatever you have in your hand, it's all fine and dandy, but if you want to play something down, you're going to have to play it down by discarding cards. You can always move cards from collections, and sometimes they'll be in 2 different heroes. Now these icons down here will move you up on the tracks that we found on the board down here. They can move you up, and that's why you want to play those so you get higher on the track and score more victory points. Keeping in mind at the same time, the more of these, keep in mind at this time that more of these heroes will be worth more victory points as the game goes on. So all heroes are not considered equal. Well, let's say I had something like this, and I wanted to play these 3. Once again, 2, 4, 6. I have to discard that many cards to play them down. Later on in the game, if I started making an Iron Man collection, I could definitely move that in. After you go through all 3 turns, the game will end. Whoever has the most victory points is the winner.